Welcome one and all, this is Friday Night Smackdown, and we are at the tail end of the month of February. This is the last show for the month of February as we continue on the road to WrestleMania. We start tonight's show off with highlights of the end of Raw last week on Monday. From highlights. We start the show off tonight with highlights from Monday of how the show ended with the Authority celebrating but then being interrupted by Sting. And the cameras kept rolling and we saw no Sting. But then, now, I should say, the Authority comes out. The Authority fully in tow. Stephanie, Hunter, J&J, Kane, Seth Rollins, etc. fully all together, etc. They come out and talk about how good it is to be back together. How good it is to be back in power. And how good it is and how much they I would have Stephanie say something like this. I want to thank John Cena because without John Cena we would have never been allowed to come back in power, because without John Cena's failure, we would have never had the opportunity. So thank you, Cena, for failing. And proving that the WWE is nothing without the Authority. And then I would have Seth continue to say, it's like I said, I was taught it, and now I'm teaching each and every one of you people. It just might take a little longer because it's harder for you people to understand even the simplest idea, because you are not the smartest people. Because I sold out over a year ago. I joined the Authority almost a year ago, and you still say that I sold out. But what you don't understand, and what John Cena just learned, was the Authority always wins. And now it moved. Everybody's still in the ring, but Hunter takes the mic, and I would have Hunter call Sting out to try and get him and Sting to go face to face. But nothing. Sting doesn't show up, and Hunter once again claims that Sting only showed up because Hunter wasn't around. Now we move to the next match. Bad News Barrett against Machismo. Machismo is a jobber I found on free agency and brought in, much like I did with Cliff Compton, much like I did with Cruz back a couple months ago, much like I did with D'Lo Brown, etc., etc. He's no different. Now we move to a promo segment with the Usos and Renee Young. Renee asks if the Usos are intimidated by facing legends like Bubba Ray and Devon, and Jimmy takes the mic and looks at Jay and says, "Are we intimidated?" Nah. Jay shakes his head no. Renee, if anybody knows about tag team wrestling, it's the Usos, because tag team wrestling has ran in our family, from our grandfathers, Alpha and Sika, to our cousins, Samu, Yokozuna, our Uncle Eki, and our father Rikishi. Tag team wrestling is in our blood. We ain't intimidated by the so-called legends who return to the company after being gone for 10 years and think they automatically deserve something. Boys, you gotta earn it. We'll be watching. We'll be watching. And when we're ready, when you're ready, nah. Let's roll like this. Bubba, Devon, we don't care what you did in the past. The past is the past. It's all about now. It's all about the present. Whenever you want us, you know where to find us. We're always game to defend these belts. Because we didn't win them by sitting on the sidelines. We won them in that ring, and we will defend them anytime in that ring. And now we move to the announce position where Cole, Jerry Lawler, and Byron Saxton give us an update on Chris Jericho. Because if you remember, Jericho got attacked on Raw by a mystery person following his segment with Paul and Roman Reigns for the highlight reel. We still don't know who did it. They do just update us that it is being reported from the doctors that Jericho may have a concussion and has to further undergo testing from his injuries. And we, other than his possibly having a concussion, all we know is all we know is Chris has bumps and bruises. And we hope Jericho comes back as soon as possible. And then they talk about a little bit who it could have been, but no bearing really. Now we move to the next match, the Dudley Boys versus the Primetime Players. I mean, you really didn't think, just because they're the Dudleys, I was going to give them automatically a title shot against Jimmy and Jay. Did you? Did you, without them earning it first? And that's what they're doing. They're earning it first. Against the Primetime Players. I think last week they versed the Matadors. This week they versed the Primetime Players on their road to becoming tag team champions. Following the match, Bubba grabs the mic and says, "We heard the Usos talking earlier in the show about whenever we want a title shot, we can get it. Well, Usos, how about a week from tonight on Smackdown, the two of us lock up in the middle of this ring for those belts, and we show you a thing or two about tag team wrestling." Just as Devon is going to throw out his catchphrase of "Oh my brother, testify," just as he's saying it, the Usos come out and interrupt. And they say, "You want us? You want a shot at these belts? You got it. Next week. We'll show you why we're the measuring stick in the WWE for tag team wrestling." And then obviously a heated confrontation between the two teams leading into the match next week on SmackDown. Now we move on. Bray Wyatt is on the Titantron and he cuts a promo about the Undertaker. He's once again still building something off screen that we can't see. And as per usual, and as become the protocol, Bray can say whatever he wants. All he has to do is show me the promo. I will okay it. And I will just have him further hint at what type of match he's going to face the Undertaker in at WrestleMania. have him finish with, "I said it on Raw, and I'll say it again. You, Undertaker, have paved the way for people like me. But now, you have become one of them. And the road you paved has bumps. And at WrestleMania, I will move you out of the way by force. And I will become the new face of fear. Find me." Now we move to the next match. AJ versus Rosa. You know, it's just AJ in one of the matches. You know, because AJ hasn't competed since in 2 weeks? 3 weeks? She hasn't competed in a couple weeks, so I figured, why not let her compete? Or it's either that she isn't going to compete in a couple weeks, for a couple weeks, or she hasn't. I think it's the latter. But now we move to the announce position where Cole, Byron, and Jerry discuss AJ and the title picture, with the fact that AJ just successfully defended the title at Fastlane against Natalya. And Michael says that I would have Michael say, "Well, guys, I've just been told that on Monday Night Raw, this Monday on Raw, Stephanie McMahon will declare will decide the future of the Divas title and who the next challenger will be." Now we move backstage with The Miz and Mizdow. The audio is messing up in this segment, so we don't really hear what's going on in this segment. All we know is The Miz looks mad and Mizdow looks confused. Seth Rollins and Jamie Noble, these guys. Seth is basically discussing with J&J Security the Randy Orton problem. And how Seth thought that they took Randy out. And he did not expect Randy to come back, but now Randy's back in person, and he wants Seth's ass. And Jamie says, "Don't worry, boss. We'll protect you. That's why we're here. Randy's got to get through us before he gets to you." That won't be that hard, but still. Cesaro currently is separate from everybody else. Now hasn't competed in a singles match in a couple weeks, so I figured, why not? That's it. And more like, I guess you could say, a filler. Dolph Ziggler's with Renee Young. Renee asks basically the same question she did to Daniel on Raw, which was, "Dolph, how did it feel when the time limit expired and you weren't able to put Daniel Bryan in the 20 minutes allotted to the match?" Well, Renee, I will admit that Daniel Bryan showed heart. I will admit that Daniel Bryan showed why he was WWE champion. But fact of the matter is, Daniel Bryan showed just how good I am because he wasn't able to put me away. People have wrote me off for months that I am not as good as I say I am, but I proved it on Sunday that I'm as good as I say I am, and I proved just how good I can be. But Dolph, you you didn't put Daniel away in the time limit either. Renee, I was just about to get to that. Because Daniel Bryan proved on Monday that he's nothing but a liar. He said that he is not much of a talker, but yet he stood here, right in this very spot, and stood with you for an interview. And he said that the next time he gets in the ring with me, it won't be a time limit draw, because he'll walk out with my title. Daniel, you don't know what it's like to hold this title. You don't know what it means to hold this title. To have the weight of the past on your shoulders. You don't know what it's like. You'll never know what it's like, because you'll never take this title away from me. Because though the WWE World Heavyweight title is the measuring stick, is the goal that everybody strives for, the title picture is so polluted that people would be lost in the shuffle. That is why, instead of being lost in the shuffle, I am making my own destiny. I am making this title the measuring stick of this company. I'm putting this title back into a position of power and importance, and Daniel Bryan, you will be how I do it. Because if you want another match, you got it. Because when we step into the ring again, you're right, it won't be a time limit draw. Because I will be the one who wins, and who is standing tall when that bell rings, holding my title over my head, and all those people in the crowd will finally sink into the idea that not only has your time come and gone, and your storybook ending had a tragic, it had your magical storybook road to redemption ends in tragedy, because you will be on your back looking up at the lights at the end of this story. I promise you that. Now Dolph steps into the ring against Christian, and Dolph is victorious against Christian in a very solid match. Dolph is changing my tune about him, because I didn't think he was that good. Now he's changing my tune. Keep his momentum, keep his importance. Byron, now we go back to the booth with the announcers talking about John Cena and the fact that John Cena last week on Raw said that he failed. He admitted failure. But now Cena is out to prove that all his doubters that he is still the best. He is still John Cena. And he is the same old Cena. And they mentioned that his open challenge will continue tonight. Now we move to the next segment with Lana, Renee Young, and Rusev, where Lana is running down Kurt Angle. Renee asks Lana what her thoughts are on Kurt Angle and if he poses a threat to Rusev. Lana says, "What are you doing here? Go away. You are just like all these people. Ignorant. Delusional. And failures. Americans think that just because they live in the United States, that they are superior to that Americans think that just because they live in this country that they are superior to everybody else. But what they don't understand, because they can't grasp other people's ideas without forcing their own on them, they don't understand what it's like to be on the outside looking in, and how much everybody else hates America. How much everybody doesn't understand how people can pretend that everything's okay when not everything is okay. For the last year, Rusev has crushed everybody that has been put in front of him. And at Fastlane, he crushed the big guy. And we thought that that your last hope was just crushed. Your last dream was just eradicated. But then Kurt Angle arose from the ashes of your hopes and dreams. And now Kurt Angle thinks that he's going to be able to topple my Rusev. Kurt Angle, you will be just like everybody else. When you step in the ring with Rusev, you will be crushed. And Rusev showed you that on Monday night when he crushed you in the middle of this ring. And now Rusev will crush somebody else right now. I hope you don't mind my broken Russian accent. Pretty bad, I know. Now we move on to the next match with Rusev toppling the Big Show, and once again showing that nobody can beat Rusev. But then, and now after the match, Alana gets back on the microphone and says, Kurt Angle, if you think that you can beat Rusev, then what do you think now that Rusev toppled the world's largest American? What do you think now, Kurt Angle? Do you think that you are still any match for the hero of the Russian Federation and Vladimir Putin's favorite athlete? You should just walk away again, Kurt Angle. Because when you get in the ring with Rusev, if people thought you were retired before you came back, there will be no doubt about that now. Because Rusev will end your career. Which prompts Kurt Angle to come out. But Kurt Angle is picking his spots. He's not ready to attack Rusev head on. He just comes out and they have a heated confrontation. Face to face, eye to eye, nose to nose. Well, not really. Face to face, but Angle's on the stage, Rusev's in the ring. As we go to a commercial break, we come back, John Cena's music plays, and John Cena comes out for the open challenge, which he says this: the Authority can say all they want, that I failed, I did, I admitted that, and I moved on. Now, I'm here to prove that John Cena is still just as good as I ever been. By beating all the challengers that come up in front of me and not even knowing who I'm going to be versing. So let's get this underway and let me stop talking. Let's let the John Cena Invitational begin. And the Invitational Open Challenge is accepted by The Miz. And The Miz comes up short against John Cena as SmackDown comes to a close with The Miz arguing with Mizdow following the loss because Mizdow refused to help The Miz. But, you know, and Cena gets the deuce. Okay, boys and girls, SmackDown is over. It was a good show. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'll keep saying it. And I'll keep saying it. That's the reason, because my screen got a little fuzzy. That's why I put my hand over it. It took a little while for my direction to get over, but my direction's over. Things are going great. WrestleMania will be here before you know it. So once again, the show's over. I hope you enjoyed. Till next time. Thank you for joining.